How you doing? Gotta get my gloves on. Yeah, we had a really big snowstorm last night. This winter's been nice. I'm not a big fan of the winter. I like the summer, but if it's gonna be winter, I'd rather it just snow this beautiful Utah snow. It's drier. Yeah, I feel like it's warmer. You don't get wet. Wet is bad. Okay, so like on this playlist, my thesis statement playlist, the introduction, the Start Here playlist on the Spiral Times channel, an interesting opportunity submerged where I did my video called something like Me in the Raw. And I'm not wearing makeup, and I'm like, look at me, this is me in the raw, you know? Kind of just like a person, like a toxic person would only make it to there, because a toxic person isn't listening to the playlist to try to learn something new or to try to understand. A toxic person knows I'm transgender, and they're listening for an opportunity to prove that I'm mentally ill or that there's something wrong with me, you know? So that one, they might just go straight to that one because of the title, What's Wrong With Me, you know? Or they might listen and not be able to find anything real good to say, but maybe a handful of things. But then when they get to that video, they're gonna have a whole bunch of things they can use against me to make me look bad, you know? So then someone left a comment, and it was something I've heard many times before in my life, you know. I get the same criticisms, don't we all? And so then I did a video already about a reaction to that, okay? So this video, I'm gonna put this video before the Me in the Raw video, and then I'm gonna, What's Wrong With Me video, and then I'm gonna let that video go, and then the response video go, you know? And you can just like see you can experience the process. There's quite a opportunity there. It's a valuable lesson these days. With the narcissist epidemic, it becomes really important to know how these type of things work, you know? So one thing is, like, towards the bottom of this playlist, you'll see the 7 stages of ego maturity, according to Zen Buddhism. And, the ego matures, you know? So, like, it's kind of like, I mean, we've all done it. Everybody matures at some level. So you mature, you learn something valuable, that life-changing. And then, the argument of, well, now that you've learned that, you might as well just go back to how you were before. Like, we've all experienced that, where that's like not a good idea, you know? When the life-changing experience is made just so you don't need to go back to where you were before, but that ego is still there. So there's 7 stages of ego maturity, but if you've matured to the 7th stage, or making you an enlightened one, making you a Buddha, it doesn't mean that the other stages aren't still part of your ego. You know, you have good and ego, bad ego, and all those things are still there, but just through awareness you can transcend them, you know, because of that awareness, because of that spiritual growth, you know. So one of the things that becomes a difficulty is when you've become a Buddha, when you've become an enlightened one, it can be eye-opening to, first of all, people think that when you become the Buddha that you won't have any troubles anymore. But like the saying goes in Buddhism, before enlightenment, chopping wood and making fire. After enlightenment, chopping wood and making fire. Like, you still, it's valuable, but there's still the realities of humanity and life and such. But then when you become an enlightened one, it can be an eye-opening that to experience other enlightened people. They can become a problem in a new way, you know. And you eventually you'll learn how to learn from other enlightened people, you know. Like you might not want to let them know that you're an enlightened person, so that because it's when you're an enlightened person, especially like a successful, well-known one, you're used to people coming to you, and you know, maybe whole audiences and everything learning from you, and so when you know that's becomes a good thing to you. You know, that's what you're trying to do, is get people in your audience. And when someone isn't in your audience or doesn't need to be in your audience, you know, which isn't necessarily true. An enlightened one should know that you can learn from anybody, even someone that isn't enlightened, or you know, even an animal. Or there's like learning experiences everywhere. But they can be like a competition with you, and competition is ego, you know. So what it all boils down to is like, you see a picture of the Buddha in the yoga posture meditating. That's like the most powerful symbol in spirituality ever, because I gotta change phone. My phone's getting heavy. Because who you really are is who you are in the now when you're breathing. So when you're meditating and you're in posture, so you're perfectly comfortable and there's no distractions from your body, and you're breathing in and out, and you've transcended ego, you've silenced all the chatter and everything, that's who you really are, you know, is your breathing. Time your heart and your lungs and your breathing in, so that's who you are in the now. That's it. That's why life is a spiral, you know. So that's relevant to people with me, because transitioning female was this huge thing for me, and I grew a whole bunch. And there's a lot of people that see me, and they want to change me, and some people can even see all the growth that I've had, and they want to. They're like, oh, well, now that you've grown all that much, aren't you mature enough to see the foolishness to make believe that you're a woman? You know, see, they always do that. They're so convinced that they're so ingrained in their head that there's two genders that they don't think of the possibility that I'm not trying to be a woman. I'm just trying to be myself, which is a trans woman, which is, you know, there's 4 genders. But so, you know, they just they don't hear that. They don't understand that concept at all. Really, if you've ever heard of teleology, teleology, I think it is teleology. Teleology is the telo means like an end. So teleology means that that things have an end purpose. Like your teeth are hard for the end purpose of being able to chew food. You know, and if you chew like a rock, it's going to break your teeth apart, because that's not the end purpose of your teeth. Your teeth is to chew food, not rocks. You know, so teleology is a philosophical view of the world was created by God, and that there's a purpose and a grand design to everything. You know, but scientists and belief in evolution and all that, we don't, you know, it's a valid argument, I guess, either way, considering that there's people arguing each thing. But you know, perhaps you'll have to decide what you think. But you know, really, through ego awareness, that's not to be supported, because things just are what they are. You know, it is what it is. You know, there's no need. If I've grown so much in transitioning female, there's no need for me to change myself to a man, you know, and change myself to a cis man. I grew because I'm a trans woman. The for me, like if you're asking what was it like transitioning, I would say it's like meditating, silencing all the chatter. You know, before gender was this big issue, and now I don't even give a shit about gender. Doesn't matter to me anymore. It's just a silence. It's like the book's closed and I've moved on to the next subject. I don't care about gender. So, you know, like why would it be a good idea to put me back through that can of worms and to try to make me something else? The gender is arbitrary. It's you know, it doesn't really have a purpose, really. You know, the sperm impregnating an egg doesn't care what gender you are, as you either have a sperm and an egg. You know, it's just like there's nothing in reality that needs, you know, those humans have projected those needs onto things, you know, and it's just gender is a small part of who I am, and it's just, you know, there's no need for me to change who I am for such a small thing. And like, the sucky thing, like I was saying about other Buddhas, is if you go to a lot of these Buddhas, they'll have you change your life, and you'll change your life, and you might even say, I've changed my life, and the things you've taught me is so beautiful and everything. And then later you won't even really remember what it is that you learned so much anymore, you know? And then it's kind of like an employer, you know? Like if you were to give your whole soul to your employer, and then like have too many bad days in a row, they might fire you. And now you've given your whole soul to your employer, and now you don't even work there anymore, you know? Your employer is a valuable part of your life. It's how you buy your food and everything, how you get your paycheck and pay your rent. But it's not the type of thing you should give your soul to, you know? And spirituality, true spirituality, is an inner work. It's not something other people do for you. It's something you do for yourself. So to give yourself to people in that way, that's ego, you know? That's separating yourself from the oneness of the universe, you know? From the bigger picture for who you are, your breathing, you know? I don't need to change anything. You know, I need to keep working on myself and learning things, and you know, knowing thyself, you know, is ego maturity, and it's love, it's self-love, and then you can love other people more, you know. I need to learn how to love others and how to love myself more. I don't need to give myself to other people that are operating from such low stages of ego maturity. You know, because then I would just lose my self-respect. That's you know, Yahweh and who God really is not a man in the sky, but it's where we connect with the universe within. You know, that we create things with words, and I go over that a lot. And to listen to these people and let them tell me who I am, and to undo all the good that's been done, would be to blaspheme God. You know, and that's what they think I'm doing. You know, they want me to listen to them and put them up in this pedestal and do my inner work for me, which is really blasphemous, though that's not a word I use or care about so much. You know, because I'll read, it's a personal journey, and what one person needs isn't the same thing as what another person needs. My diet in the morning, you know, like I eat a breakfast every morning, but for some people eating breakfast in the morning, well, I'm skinny, I'm not trying to lose weight. Someone that's trying to lose weight, eating breakfast in the morning might just set them down this path of being hungry the rest of the day, you know? And so they shouldn't listen to me. My diet must not be the right choice for them, you know? You know, like, who you really are as a squirrel. Does a squirrel care about gender? And does a squirrel care about all these things? No. You know? Zero. Silence. You are your breathing.